One of the most important technologies in web development is HTML. In this video, I am going to talk about the history, the structure, and the syntax of HTML5. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's not a programming language like C++, Python, or JavaScript. It's a markup language that encapsulates or marks up data within HTML tags, which define the data and describes its purpose on the web page. While working with HTML, all you need is a web browser and a text editor. You use the text editor for writing your code, and the web browser is used for seeing the output of the code on the browser. So there is no need of installing any compilers, interpreters like you do in any other programming languages. The first version of HTML was written by Tim Berners-Lee in 1993. And after the first version, there have been many different versions of HTML in the market, like HTML1, like HTML3, and XHTML, HTML5, which is the current version at the time of recording this video in December 2022. HTML is the standard markup language for documents. In every website or web application out there in the internet, you will see that HTML is used. And if you are supposed to create any web page or website, you have to use HTML for creating the structure of that website. HTML is not used for styling or positioning the elements in a web page. For that, we have another technology which is called CSS or cascading style sheet. And it is also not used for adding front-end or back-end functionality to a web page. For that purpose, you will need a programming language like JavaScript or any other programming language which is used for creating the web applications. HTML, like any other language, has certain grammar and rules for writing the code and creating applications. In HTML, it is called syntax. Syntax is like an order or general rules for creating web pages, writing the code, and the elements which you are using in your web page. The same thing goes on with any other language. For example, in Java, you have a syntax public static void main string arguments, which you have to use in any of the programs you are writing in Java. Or in C++, you use include stdio.h as a header file for including a standard input-outputs in your program. And in HTML, as an example, I have written one of the tags, which is the doc type HTML, that is used for indicating the document type for browser. So syntax is the basic rules and regulations which there exist in HTML that tells us how we are supposed to write HTML. This HTML syntax consists primarily of tags that are enclosed inside angle brackets. For example, we use tag P for creating a paragraph inside a web page. Like this one, we have so many other tags out there which are used for different purposes. So now let's create a HTML file and see the structure and the work mechanism of HTML. For creating an HTML file, you can right click and go to new, and from here create a text document. So you can name it whatever the name of your choice. For example, I'm naming it example. And about the extension, this is the most important part in naming an HTML file. As you already know, every file in the operating systems have a certain extension which tells the operating system how to behave with the file. Like this, HTML also has a special extension which is HTML. If you are unable to see the extension of the file, that's because of the settings in your operating system. In Windows, you can go to My Computer, then View, Options, Change Folder and Search Options, and from here you should uncheck the hide extension for non-file types and then click Apply, and then you will be able to see the extension name of the file. So as you can see, after pressing enter, the icon of the file is changed to Chrome. That's because Chrome is the default browser in my computer. As you can see, I have two browsers, but the Chrome is the default browser in my computer, so that's why the icon is changed to Chrome. So now it's the time to write HTML code. You can open it with any text editor of your own choice. I'm using VS Code. You can download it from the internet and install on your PC. So here I can write HTML code. And where I can see the output, we can see the output on the browser. So I'm opening the file with Chrome browser. So as you can see, the sentence I have written here is already displaying on the browser. That's because an option in my VS Code is activated, which is autosave. I'm going to deactivate it. I deactivated the autosave. So now after any change, I have to save the file myself. So as you have already seen, without using any tag or any special structure, whatever you write here will be displayed on the browser. This is because of the concept which I have just told you. HTML is a markup language. It doesn't need any special compiling or interpreting. So that's why everything written in HTML file can directly be displayed in the browser. But this is not the way. Why? So let me give you an example that why we have to follow a structure and we have to follow a special rule or regulation of the tags. Suppose I'm creating or building a web page for a university. So what do we expect in a web page of university? First, we expect a title. For example, the name of the university, like Awesome University. And after creating the title, for example, we are going to have some description about the university. This university is located in Middle East. Let's say this is some information given about the university. So if I press Ctrl S, save the file and reload it on the browser, you can see that all the header and the text, which was a description, all are displayed in the same line, unlike a paragraph, which is not what we were expecting. So what do we expect? We expect the browser to display Awesome University as a title or as a header and display the sentence as a paragraph. So we have to use the syntax of HTML to tell the browser this thing. So as I have already told you about the tags, we are going to use tags for telling the browser for doing the thing that we want and we expect from the browser. About the tags, let me make it very simple for you. So what we are going to do, we are going to talk to browser. So we are going to tell the browser, please display it like a title. Let's talk to browser in English at first. So I press Ctrl S and reload, and browser is not understanding what we have written. And beside, it has added the thing which we told browser also as a text and paragraph beside the other text. So this is not a wise way to try. So let's try another language. Let's just tell browser that it's a header or a title. So we just put title here. And again, I Ctrl S, save the file and reload. But again, the browser is not understanding our purpose. Let's change the title to header. Maybe browser is understanding the word header. I press Ctrl S, save the file and reload. Again, browser is not understanding what we are trying to say. So let's minimize the header to H. H stands for header. We can minimize it and make it short. And let's make it like the tags which we have already seen in the slideshow. So if I use small brackets, it becomes an H like this. And since we have seen in the newspapers that there are different types of titles with different size, in HTML we might also have the same concept and we might have different titles with different size. So let's say we have 6 different type of sizes in newspapers, so we can use that in HTML too. We can number it like this, H1 or H2 or H3, H4, 5, 6. So let's say we have 6 different sizes of titles in newspapers. So this one we call H1. And now I hope browser understand what we are trying to say. I press Ctrl S and reload. See, now the font of the Awesome University is changed. It's bold, like a title should be bold. And also the paragraph is not located beside this anymore, like we were expecting. So this is the way we are going to talk to browser. We used h1, which is one of the tags of HTML that is used for creating a title. And the HTML now understands what we are trying to say. So this is the way we should try to write HTML. This is the way that we should use the tags and the concepts of HTML. So for this one, since it's a paragraph, let's add a p tag, which is used for creating a paragraph. So I'm pasting the sentence inside this tag. We will talk in next videos about this concept, why we have two p's, why this one has a forward slash and this one doesn't have. In next videos I will talk further about these concepts. So now since we have seen the benefit of using tags, let's regulate it more and use the basic structure of HTML. So in every version of HTML, there is a special header file, which tells the browser the version of HTML and the type of the document that browser is dealing with. In HTML5, there is this header file, which is doc type HTML. You have to write it the way that I have written it. You have to use these brackets and this exclamation mark, and you have to write doc type in uppercase and HTML in lowercase. There is no negotiations in this. We cannot try any other way of our own choice. And about this matter also I will talk in the next videos, that why we should stick to the basic note which is given about HTML5 in particular that we are now working with, and why should we use the standard way of writing HTML. So after the header file, we have a root element which is called HTML. You can imagine that it's like the brackets that you used to use in Java. For example, in Java, you used to use these brackets for indicating the structure of a class. So HTML is called the root element, and everything should be located inside this HTML. It doesn't mean that if you write something here, for example, I am out of the root element, this will be also displayed in the browser. It doesn't mean that if something is out of the root element, it will not be displayed or it will not be included. But as I said, in HTML or the same type of language as HTML, CSS, you have to follow the standards and not your own opinion. And there are many reasons to that. You can search the internet about some of them, or I will talk in the next videos more about them. So after the root element, there are two parts, which are the head and the body, that are located inside the root element. The content always go inside the body, and there are some things which go inside the head element. For example, we have another tag which is called title, and by title we mean the name of the web page which is written here. Now as you can see, it is example.html, the name of the file. It's because we didn't have any title tag, but now I can have a title and I will write university. Control S and reload, and now you can see it is changed to university. So this is the basic structure of HTML. We will continue in the next video of the series. Having any questions, please write down in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. Have a good day.